good Sunday morning. President Biden is in an all-out effort to revive his candidacy after that debate performance last week that raised questions about whether he's capable of beating Donald Trump and serving another 4 years in office. One veteran House Democrat tells NBC News opinions are hardening in many quarters, that action has to be taken, and that action is a different nominee. Both House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries and Virginia Senator Mark Warner are convening groups of their colleagues to discuss the path forward, and a growing number of congressional Democrats have called on President Biden to step aside.
Mr. President, please look at what's happened. Recognize that the reality out there may not be the same thing you're hearing from the circle of your closest friends and family, and consider putting our country first.
The campaign has been very, I think, arrogant in their response. We want to know what their plan is to win this election and turn these numbers around. And if they don't have a plan, then I think we have to move in a different direction.
It's like talking to a loved one about such a tough situation. How do you tell that person he can't do this anymore?
The decision about whether Mr. Biden stays in the race may come down to raw data. In a new Wall Street Journal poll, former President Trump has opened up a 6-point lead over President Biden among registered voters, the widest gap in that survey since 2021. Mr. Trump leads by nearly 9 points among registered voters in a New York Times Siena College poll. He's up by 6 points among likely voters, his largest lead since 2015. And Vice President Harris performs slightly better in a CNN poll within the margin of error. But a Bloomberg Morning Consult poll shows a close race in key battleground states. Now, an increasing number of big Democratic donors are calling on President Biden to drop out.
The lifeblood to a campaign in politics, the lifeblood is money. I talked to a bunch of big donors, and they're moving all their money to Congress and the Senate. I cannot believe we're in this situation.
But the president has been defiant. He is not dropping out. On the trail in Wisconsin and in an exclusive interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos, President Biden insisted only the Lord Almighty could make him change his mind.
If the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'll get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
I agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down. But if you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
But the interview did not calm the widespread panic throughout the party. Former Obama senior advisor David Axelrod said President Biden is rightfully proud of his record, but is, quote, dangerously out of touch with the concerns people have about his capacities. Some Democrats have also expressed frustration that the president refused to commit to taking a cognitive test.
Have you had the specific cognitive tests, and have you had a neurologist, a specialist, do an examination?
No one said I had to. No one said, they said I'm good.
Would you be willing to undergo an independent medical evaluation that included neurological and cognitive tests and release the results to the American people?
Look, I have a cognitive test every single day. Every day I have that test. Everything I do.
The answer right now is no, you don't want to do that right now.
No, I've already done it.
On Monday, the Supreme Court gave former President Donald Trump a monumental legal victory, granting him sweeping immunity from prosecution over official actions in an extraordinary expansion of executive power. Aiming to capitalize on that, the Biden campaign is now arguing the decision is added proof that Mr. Trump will be more dangerous in a second term.
If you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the good job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.